Hey! Hello, hello! Good evening and welcome to
the Plasterer!
With me, Eric the Plasterer. Hopefully this is going out and being picked up. I'll find out in a minute. Oh dear. My software always tells me, some weeks it goes, oh yeah, it's great. And other times it goes, oh, you better check this, that and the other. But yeah, I can't see you on this other screen where I normally can see you. But that's happened before, but it still works. So I don't know what's going on. Hang on, just let me check. James, evening mate. I'm guessing then you can see and hear me. I'm looking for myself on my phone. Oh, there it is. I thought it's not there. So I don't want to be talking to myself for half an hour before anybody pops up and goes, yeah, can't hear you mate, or you're not there, or whatever. Mark, hello mate. Yay, loud and clear. Good evening. Yes mate, loud and clear. I thought I was going to have to buy a new microphone, which I should have done because this one was only about 25 quid when I got it. And I went into some other settings on my computer and twiddled about with them, and there was a bit where you could turn them up, so I turned them up, and as far as I know they're working okay. But as long as you guys let me know if it goes a bit wonky a little bit later on, but I'm hoping that it'll be fine. So I didn't splash out the 25 quid on the new one, so I'm just relying on my old one working. Yeah, days are getting longer. What a lovely day today. This morning was a bit wee, and then this afternoon, sun came out, sky got blue. I had on all my can't afford to put my heating on clothes. Pop round my sisters who can afford to have their heating on, and the sun was out. Next thing was sweating, so I was. What else? Only 37 days to the old great Edinburgh meet-up. I should put a cheer on that, shouldn't I? But I haven't got one. Dear. Hope everybody's all right. And you've got a drink. I've got my beer glass at the ready, and can of my old favourite Brewdog Pint IPA. If they're watching, but I doubt it. But you never know. Right, I thought what we might do this evening, as I say, grab a beer, settle down a bit. I'm going to wait, well not wait, but I just want to make sure there's a few of us, oh yeah, okay, quite a few of us in the pub this evening, or we will be. It's a bit dark in this studio, because this studio is only pretend, but as the sun came out today, what I thought we would do is pop back to the pub garden, yay! If you can't hear me, oh yeah, that was me, wasn't it? If you can't hear me, let me know. I thought, who's that? Oh, Eric the Plasterer, yeah. Yep, the clay oven's back on for pizza. The old little Bernie's are burning. That couple that always come to this pub garden, they're here again. They're proper regulars, they are, just like a lot of you guys are. Right, if you've not been here before, I'm Eric the Plasterer. This is Ask the Plasterer. I've been a plasterer for 38 years in South London, and here to answer any of your plastering related questions. A little bit later on, we will pop into the pub. Hey, evening Danny. We'll pop into the pub and we'll carry on our chatting in there. But I thought for a little while it's still sunny out, now the days are getting longer, I thought we'd just sit in the garden and just relax a little bit first, and as soon as it starts getting a little bit nippy out here, we'll go into the pub where they've always got the fire on, because they don't want their customers to be cold in the old Alton Trowel. Oh, we had some cheeky fella as well come and sit in my seat. They've got him on the old video, so I'll show you that later. And then I say, excuse me mate, can you not notice the camera there and the yeah, that's my chair you're sitting in. But anyway, I'll show you that later. Yeah, what else can I say? Yeah, has everybody had a good day? Lovely Monday. The kids, most of the kids from the old Easter holidays, they're on a break, so traffic wherever you're going should be lighter. at Mark and anyone that's over in Ireland. I think the traffic's never heavy, is it? I don't think you have a rush hour, do you? Danny, what's that? Hot Ribena for me, mate. Bit ill. Oh no, you got the old cough and the coldy thing, mate. Hopefully, have you had a COVID test? Make sure you ain't got the dreaded lurgy. Probably not. I mean, I don't think people bother anymore, do they? But yeah, you probably caught it off of Kirk. Because I heard it can come through the videos actually. This particular bug, especially if you talk too close to the microphone, pops out your speaker the other end on your phone. People just breathe it in. The next thing you know, you've got the cough and cold as well. So, got to be careful of that. Got to be careful. Enjoy hot Ribena, mate. Mike, evening, Mike. Yes, mate. I'm not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. My work's been a little bit quiet. I mentioned that before. And a job. I'll tell you about it in the pub. But I did have a decent job come in. A couple of clients I've worked for before. Originally, they were going to stay in their first house, and then they ended up moving to another place. And I think that was going to be it. And then they've ended up moving again, which is great for me because every time they move, they tend to move into a doer-upper or a place that needs work doing. So yeah, so I shall be going there tomorrow to sort out the first little box room they've got. That should be good. Yeah. Oh, let's have some. While I'm out here, I'm gonna pour me beer. If you haven't got a drink or nibbles, or you haven't put your feet up yet, go right ahead. You haven't got time to go and have a shower though. But if you haven't had it already, do like I do and have it after. I mean, generally, I don't have my dinner before after Plasterer because there ain't time to eat it. Not and have a wash, so I have that after. But it's lovely then because once I'm all done here, I can sit downstairs and go, oh yeah, lovely. Let's have a lovely grub. I think it's chilli and jagged potatoes tonight. Plenty of grated cheese on top. Cheers. What's that, Danny? Now got sinusitis, mate. Not good. Oh, is that when you get all the big kind of like all stucky up there and it's all a bit like that? And yeah, and I mentioned the yellow blobby stuff comes out your nose when you blow it. Sorry if anybody's eating. But oh mate, yeah, no, that's not good. That's not good. Smells horrible up your nose as well if it's what I'm thinking of. But hopefully, mate, you'll get over it soon. Let's have a bit of hot Ribena, a bit of TLC from her indoors. Yep. Who normally tunes in, I'm pleased to say, Danny. What a girl she is. But if she's, she might be at work. I know she's been busy with her job and stuff. Right, can you come and help me? It depends how far away you are, mate. Can't remember. Can you come and help me if you want boarding was terrible done by the customer? Oh, mate, I have been on a few jobs and recently I've got some pictures on my phone, but I haven't put them on the on here tonight, so I can show them to you. But I will tell you about it if everything keeps working properly this evening. The computer don't crash on me, and my microphone keeps working, and my camera seems fine, thankfully. He said, famous last words. Yeah, and I know some jobs you go to, and the boards, they're not staggered. People don't like to waste boards if it's the customer in a lot of cases. They've got little pieces like this, and they literally do a patchwork over a wall. Anyway, well, I didn't want to waste it. And you think, oh, man, all those little joints, mate, there's just not. They're not that sound when it comes to the possibility of cracking. I know they can be fairly sturdy, or if you put some mesh over them or whatever. But you don't want to be doing that if you don't have to. Not on plasterboard. But hey ho. Excuse me, Jamie. Hello, mate. Nice to see you. Oh, I felt a bit croaky then for a second. Hang on. Let's make it better. That's better. That's better. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, and some of the gaps that people leave around the edges of their boards if they do the board themselves, and the especially if they're boarding the ceiling and they go with a bit of a gap around the edge, and you maybe anticipate something like this, But when it's like this, and it's just a void, you can stick your hand in. You kind of think, oh, what do you want me to do with that exactly? It's not going to take me a while, but I wasn't anticipating doing. But I'm not. What's that, Danny? Well, at the moment I'm on steroid nasal spray, mate. So hopefully that'll sort it. Actually, for anything with steroids in, mate, is good. Normally works a treat, depending how strong the steroid stuff is. But yeah, I think it's slightly different ones that build your muscles up. But I don't know because I'm not a chemist. But dear. Excuse me. Yeah, did I finish what I was saying earlier to anybody that's new that's come along this evening? I'm over at the Plasterer. Been plastering in South London for the last 38 years. You can come here to answer any of our plastering related questions. In fact, at the moment, I'm getting a little bit nippy out here because as the sun's... Let me just check out there. Well, yeah, the sun's starting to set. There's a bit of a breeze blowing up here, so I'm going to take us into the old Alton Trowel. Hey, there we go. Ah, that's better. That's better. Welcome if you just joined us. Yeah, so if you've got any plastering related questions you might want to ask this evening, if I don't know them, sure one of the regular guys or girls, a smattering of which we have in the old community boozer with us this evening. Yeah, if I can't answer it, they'll be able to. So that's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. What was that, Danny? Sounds like my landlord who did a big renovation with the bits of board, mate. Does your head in, doesn't it? It does, mate. It does. This, yeah, I'm pretty sure I hadn't looked at it last time I was on here, but then most of the people couldn't hear what I was saying anyway. So I went to look at a loft conversion, and it had been boarded out. Boarding didn't look too bad, but the customer who owns the place thought he would try filling the joints with some kind of white joint compound, and he literally put it on all the beads. I think the beads had been stuck up by someone else. He put it around all the beads, put it on all the joints, and it was I think he said he's never done it before in his life, and I'm not kidding, it looked like that. It's the roughest bit of filling. It was sticking out from the. I mean, they've tapered edge some of these as well, and they were still sticking out proud, and they were rough like. Well, you imagine how rough is, and that's what they were all like. And he'd done the whole lot in the main bedroom part, in the little room off the side. Also, the little room off the side. I looked at that off the corridor, and the door liner was flush on the inside. I know sometimes they're a little bit big for the wall you're doing, so you have to do something to be the other side. But it stuck out about 3 inches out of the other side of the wall. And I thought, am I just going to butt up to the side of that and you're going to leave the 3 inches of frame sticking out, or is someone going to trim that off at some point? This is just when I was looking at it, because yeah, I didn't fancy doing it, if I'm honest. And it also happened to be in one of those places where it's really hard to park, as in a little cul-de-sac come banjo, where people either work from home and their car is out there, or they go on the train and their car is outside their house. And this particular place that was converted had a little bit on the side as well as this loft conversion, and that didn't have a drive or any kind of frontage to it. And I was just lucky to get a space when I went to look at it that wasn't there when I pulled up, and I had to block in about 3 other cars. Wherever you stopped, you were blocking about 3 cars on this particular job, and I thought, this, can't get a parking space, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. And I would have been there trying to put everything right. I would have been in there for at least a week, and yeah, and just. And obviously it's the conversion, so it's right at the top of the house. And the corridor was quite narrow going up. Evening, Richard. Evening, Mike. Can you use extra time in bonding? I'll tell you what, mate. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I've always found, bonding's my preferred backing, and I do a lot of floating and setting rather than dotting and dabbing. Yeah, I use bonding. I don't like hardball. Don't like it. Smells too much for one, and I just don't like it. And I'm a bonding man, so that's the only kind of decent backing plaster you can get nowadays. Whenever I've mixed up a fair quantity of that, I never, unless I'm doing a teeny little hole, I never mix up less than the bag full. But if you start twiddling about with something without bonding, I've always found, no matter how well I've mixed it, when I start getting to the bottom, if the time's starting to tick by a bit, although it's still soft, it starts to get a bit lumpy. Because this is inside the tub, because I don't bother. If I'm mixing up a large quantity, I'm not going to be trying to, especially working on my own, like pour it out onto a spot board. So I work it out of the bucket. And that last little bit always tends to go a bit, that's no good, and I end up scraping it out and wasting it, basically, and then knocking up a fresh bag. I can't remember when I did it first, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to mix up my bag. I'm not in a massive hurry for it to go off. I'm going to stick a packet of extra time for the finish in it. And what can I say, apart from it goes lovely and creamy. A bit more like the creaminess you get from hardball, but without the smell. And basically, even if you're having to mess about a bit because you're sticking it around some beads or doing something a little bit intricate, stays nice and creamy for a good while. And then, but basically, no matter how long I've tended to leave it, that last little bit right down to the bottom, I'm scraping it out, not a single lump in it whatsoever. Absolutely beautiful. And yeah, so now I rarely knock up a bag of bonding without chucking a packet of extra time in it. So yes, mate, you can put extra time in your bonding. I mean, officially, that's not what it's for, but if it works, mate. And you know, you can argue do certain things weaken plaster and what have you, but you know, come on, let's be sensible. Yeah, no, it works an absolute treat. So I don't waste any, and if I'm knocking enough, then another bag, and I've got some in that as well. It just stays nice and creamy. And if you bring it back a little bit, if it does start to go a little bit thick, you can bring it back when it's got extra time in it. This is the bonding we're talking about. And I think, oh great, I can finish it off, scrape it right out, and then mix up a fresh bag, so I don't waste any bonding whatsoever. But whereas in the past, without it, unless I got it on super fast because I'm just doing something big and flat, you'd have this bit in the bottom that started getting a bit lumpy, regardless of how fresh a bag is or how well you mixed it up. Didn't seem to make any difference. I don't know what it is about bonding that does that, but hey. Richard, oh yeah, Richard and James, yeah. Something to think. Oh, hasn't he said hello already? Evening, Richard. Evening, James. Yeah. James was working in a gym today. Took down and boarded the changing room ceiling. My brother's skimming it tomorrow, and I'm painting it Friday. Should be dry by then, hopefully. If the weather stays nice, mate, like this, it should dry no problem. If you've got some ventilation in there. Yeah, a friend of mine owns a gym which my missus is kind of connected to up in Vauxhall, and what's it called again? The Foundry. They've got a few gyms, and I've done a bit of work in there for them, and yeah, it's what am I getting at? Yeah, normally in a lot of those places, the ceilings are the old suspended frames, aren't they, with the tiles in the ceiling? Yeah, I don't know what kind of what gaff you're in there, mate, or what kind of building it is. Because a lot of them are like warehouse type space that are converted to be used as gyms. But yeah, but yes, mate, it should well hopefully be dry by then. Danny, what's that? They need to bring back browning, mate. Browning is, apart from the fact it floats on water rather than sinks in, so it's a bit harder to mix up. Browning is lovely. Well, in my opinion, it's lovely to get to work with. It's not sticky at all, which sometimes ain't great. If you're rolling it off, it can slide off of a Derby or off a Feather Edge or off a Speed Skim a lot easier than bonding or hardball was. It's got no stickiness really to it in that respect. But it's only really good for bricks and bricks or blocks and stuff. And you can get high suction browning. Is that high suction? Yeah, it used to be HSB. I'm pretty sure that was high suction browning and not high suction bonding. And yeah, and that was it was lovely gear, and it was lovely to get ruled off and rubbing it up, deviling it up with the old devil float browning. easy, it's beautiful, and your float didn't kind of get stuck to it as much as it can get stuck to bonding if you ever end up bonding, if you feel the need to. Excuse me. And yeah, but yeah, no good for concrete heads. As I say, when I used to work on site years ago, that used to be the case of like they got bags of bonding, bags of browning. All the block work had to be done in browning, and all the heads had to be done in bonding. So it was like, yeah, bonding, which was a bit of a pain because you're thinking, oh, yeah, I've got to bond the concrete heads, whatever, and then have getting gear mixed up for the walls. But most of the big jobs, there were separate guys knocking up all the gear. So which is one of the only things I liked about big sites back in the day when I was on them, was that they had teams of labourers that just knocked up for the spreads, no matter who you were. So basically you just have to go up to a spot board and off you go, and someone will be loading it up for you, which is, oh, those were the days. Not having to mix up your own gear. I think Kirk knows what that's like, because I'm pretty sure he's Kieran, isn't it? Apart from doing his filming, definitely does all the knocking up and possibly the bead fixing and the tidying up after. But Kirk looks after him, so that's all right. Oh dear. Silver, hello mate. Sorry I didn't see you there. All right there. How are we all doing? Oh, I'm doing all right, mate. I'm doing all right. I don't know who else is here this evening. There's about 15 people on YouTube. And about 3, oh no, make that 1 on Facebook. I'm pretty sure it's only my family that tune in on there mostly and go, oh, flipping hell, it's Eric again in the Trowel community boozer having a chat with his mates. And anyone else that wants to ask anything about plastering. Oh dear. Michael, good evening sir. Well, you needed some foam. Oh mate, I mean, I don't, because I just assume everybody knows about your foam antics, mate. But most of that is normally on the Ask the Plasterer forum, isn't it? So yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, Mike, one guy he worked for, I think on more than one occasion, and he's done a lot of work for, he calls Mr. Foamer because I don't know how many gallons of excuse me. I don't know how many gallons of foam he gets through. Squirty foam, but he puts it in and on about everything. And if there's a gap somewhere on some boarding he's done that should be nice boarding, but he just seems to slap it on, and any gaps there he just gets the foamer out, and it's all over the place. And initially he would leave Mike to trim it all back and put it right with bonding and beads and finish or whatever. So yeah, we often making jokes about anything to do with the old foam, But no, you're all right, Mike. You can keep that. And if Mr. Foamer wants any got any friends that want some work doing down in London, don't give him my number, even if it is quiet, because they probably get tips from him on how to prep stuff for the plasterer. Ah dear. But as I think you said, mate, though, he's a nice guy, and he's a great payer, so you don't have any problems with your money. But man, you work for it. I'll tell you that for nothing. Cheers. Welcome to Ask the Plasterer with me, Eric the Plasterer. I've been a plasterer in South London for the last 38 years, and I'm here to answer any of your plastering related questions, and if I don't know them, somebody else will. Yeah, this is the community boozer where we often meet up for, well, I say often, once a fortnight, which isn't that often for meeting up in a boozer, is it? But there you go. You shouldn't drink too much or frequent pubs too often if you can help it. Oh yes, and another thing, if you weren't here at the beginning, is where have we got it gone? Hold on, here we are. Yay, only 37 days till the Edinburgh meet-up. Yay! For anyone that doesn't know, me, quite a large proportion of these guys and girls here, and a lot of other spreads and not spreads off of the Trowel Talk Facebook group. We are meeting up in Edinburgh on the 10th, probably going down on the 9th, travel-wise from London. But we're basically meeting up 9th, 10th of May for a few days. We're staying up there and we're going to meet each other in the flesh, because a lot of us just, you know, we've got to know each other really well over the last few years now, I think, as you can and do on these kind of things. And but we haven't, you know, we follow each other on our channels, respective channels and stuff, but a lot of us haven't actually met each other in the flesh. So really, everyone's really looking forward to that. As I've said before, we're going to be filming, going down there from our different perspectives. A lot of that I'm probably going to live stream if my phone will work. Possibility I might get a new phone if I'm lucky from the missus for that event, because my old one's not that much cop. I can't wait, Mark. I can't wait, mate. The nearer it gets. And today, I did tell you, I've been guaranteed by the man upstairs that the weather's going to be lovely while we're there. Oh, excuse me. And yeah, don't care what Jamie says about it being raining and stuff like that and cold. It won't be, just because it's quite a way up north. It's neither here nor there. It's going to be warm. The sun's going to be out. Please. And even if it's not, we are going to have a great time, and yeah, literally can't wait for that. 37 days, it's creeping up fast. Yeah, anybody is welcome along to that. People generally are making their own arrangements for travelling up there, depending where they live in the country, and we are very spread around. And yeah, what did I say? Yeah, it is still open for anyone to come along to that and meet up with the rest of us up there. And I think a good time will be had by all. And Edinburgh, if you've never been there, is an absolutely beautiful place, especially with spring and summer kicking in. It's just, yeah, the few times I have been there, each time I have, it's been lovely, absolutely lovely. Danny, if I'm floating a wall, I prefer sand and cement, to be honest. And I found, Danny, when I was using it a lot, if I went to a site where I'd say I've been on a site where they're mostly floating and setting with gypsum, then I'll go to a different site where they're doing a load of sand and cement work. I'd initially get there and think, oh man, sand and cement, you know, heavy and all that kind of stuff. And as soon as you've been at it a few days, that kind of like, you kind of thought, oh yeah, I'm getting in the swing now of using sand and cement, and then going back to using gypsum feels a bit odd. So yeah, if once I got back in the swing of using sand and cement, especially if someone else was knocking it up, yeah, I would quite enjoy that, if I'm honest. Kind of cool. The only thing I used to say to domestic customers, when because I'd worked for a few that have wanted to float and set their whole house, they'd knocked it back to bricks and they wanted it all put back with sand and cement. And although the sand and cement was then anyway cheaper to buy, I did like tell them that the drying out times and stuff would be like prolonged due to how you got, like, you know, you're pricking up or scratch coat on things, and let that go for a day before you can do, you know, do the next bit, and then before you can put the finish on that, you've got to let it dry out a bit and blah blah blah. But yeah, on jobs like that, if I was working domestic basically on my own, and maybe at that point with just like one labourer, yeah, I was much more keen to talk them into having the gypsum stuff. But sorry mate, yeah, I didn't finish reading your question. Hardwall, start again now. If I'm floating a wall, I prefer sand and cement, to be honest, yeah. Normally I'd use hardwall, because you like that horrible eggy pooey smell, mate, is it that way? I usually use hardwall as I can get down the same day. Anyway, well, that's why I use bonding, mate, rather than having to wait. But yeah, it does bloody stink. Something wrong. Well, I didn't realise how much it stunk, because I'd really touched the stuff in years. I knew of it, like, but I kind of thought, oh, I use bonding for that kind of stuff. And then when I did use a bag of it, although the gear was all right to use, I just kind of thought, well, you know, have I got a slightly dodgy bag, or do they all smell like that? And if they do, I ain't gonna be using too much more of the old hardwall. I've got a bag still in the back of my motor, because a little while, well, I say a little while, about a month ago, I went to B&Q and they had no bonding, and all they had was hardwall, so I bought a bag of hardwall, and the next time I went back, they had bonding, and I hadn't used that hardwall, and I picked up some gear for a job tomorrow, And as I like opened the back of the motor up, I realised this bag of hardware is still sitting there at the bottom of the pile. And it will probably stay there until I get a skip, and I'll probably end up binning it because it probably would have gone a bit too far and getting old and damp, especially my motor. Oh, Sam, talking about my motor, my gearbox is, I think it's my gearbox. I'm starting to hear a bit of a whirring noise, and I'm hoping it just needs oil in it. But of course, oil in the gearbox isn't like putting oil in the car, is it? It's an underneath the engine job, and I'm no mechanic, so. What's that, Mark? Skimming is harder on you then than sand and cement. When I skim, my neck and back gets sore. When I float, it's just the top of my arms. That's funny, mate, because yeah, skimming. Yeah, when you just I know everyone kind of puts it on different, but I'm pretty sure you're similar to me. You just got to whack the bulk of it on first, and then fill all the rest in. Same MOT tomorrow. That's you, mate. I've got mine is due for an MOT in the next 2 or 3 days. I always just kind of assume it's got, I don't know why, because it's a bit of an old banger now. I'm always just assume it's going to pass the MOT. So, like, oh well, I've got that particular date. I've got to take it down and get it MOT. The guy I go to, he's brilliant. I can literally just turn up there out of the blue, and he'll do it. I mean, I might have to leave it there and go back a day later, but he does it at the drop of a hat, and he is good. He is good. But yeah, so I'm hoping. Or if you can fix it, it's something they can fix quickly, and they don't go, oh, you need a particular part, mate. This is, probably take a few days to come, and then we've got to fit it, because then I'll be really stuck. But yeah, so yeah, good luck with your MOT, Jamie, and hopefully, yeah, good luck with mine as well. And then with the family car, that's due about a week after for an MOT. At least that one's is ULEZ. So worth ULEZ, you can drive it still after August without having to pay. But smaller movements when applying sand and cement. Yeah, I suppose so, Jamie. He's right, Mark, isn't he? Because I suppose for sand and cement, you're putting it on, you're hooking it on, and going along, and you've got your rolling off. Whereas when you're doing your old, you're sweeping more with the old finish, aren't you? A guy the other day did comment on one of my videos about he found it weird. Which isn't the word I would have used, but I found it weird that I was spreading the stuff on from the bottom first, upwards, and then doing my sides and the tops. But I know a lot of guys go across the top first, and then they fill the bottom in. And but hey, if it works, you're only putting the plaster on the wall, so it's not it doesn't really matter one way or the other. Oh, and also that I didn't put on the channels that I'd filled in with bonding, I hadn't put any scrim over the channels. Now, if I've got a channel that I filled with bonding on a plasterboard wall, I'll probably put scrim over it. But if it's a solid wall and I filled it with I filled a channel, especially if it's a decent deep channel, it's got plenty of gear in it, I won't generally put fibre tape over it unless for some reason I think, you know what, I better put a bit of fibre tape over that. And as far as I know, I haven't had any issues, and it has been a long time. So, sat down. It's even worse the next day, I reckon. But if there was a lot to do, I'd definitely use sand and cement, as would be doing the same day anyway. Yeah, Mark's right. Skimming much harder on body. Ah, dear. Well, you guys need to get back down the gym. As do I. My God, I haven't been. I do a bit of the old park running as well, and I haven't been park running for about a month. That's 4 Saturdays I've missed, and the old belly's still growing. Because I'm pretty sure that when we get to Edinburgh, a couple of the guys probably go, "Oh, you still got that six pack?" No, I've got this vaguely pregnant look. But I've got to get back on it. It's just so easy to get lazy. The less you do, you stop running, and then you think, oh, I'll go next week, and the slightest little thing crops up, like it's pouring with rain, and you go, well, I can't really go running in this. I'm going to be slipping around in the old mud. Not as much pressure on the trowel floating. Yeah, and I suppose if you're not using the trowel that's too big, Mark, either, is it? Because like I said, I've got that great big 18-inch by 5-inch box trowel, but I'm fine skimming with it, but if I tried floating with that, especially sand and cement, it would break me wrists halfway through doing one wall, or really suffer the next day after that because you get the old DOMS, don't you? Because it is exercising, and you know you overstrain your wrists and your forearms and all the rest of it, and then you can feel alright that night, but then a couple of days later you're suddenly like, oh man, my arms, you know, it's all a bit diddly. I left that video up there about me using the pool trowel because although I had it up there last time we were in the pub, yeah, it didn't really get talked about much or anything because everything wasn't working, was it? Don't forget about my microphone issues and me Wi-Fi issues from last time. Yeah, we meet up here, for those of you that don't know, every other Monday, from 7 o'clock till about 8:30 or going well if we're busy, and just get together for a chat about plastering, basically, and picking your shoes off, putting your feet up, having a beer or a coffee or a tea, or well, you guys can eat your dinner, but I can't. You know, if I ate my dinner while I'm talking to you, all the munchy noises would be very irritating. It's bad enough my chair squeaks and I slurp my beer. But that's not your problem. You can sit there and have your dinner and whatever. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, some geezer strolls in here, because obviously I get this set up. I get my chair just where I like it, near the fire. Got the camera set up, all ready to go. Obviously, I don't sit here while I'm waiting. Go and have a bit of snack. Not my dinner, but a snack. Might go for a wee. Anyway, I pops off for a wee. And on the old camera picks this up. Bear with. Hang on. Where is he? Cheeky bugger.
Dry martini.
Oui, monsieur.
Wait. 3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of Kina Lily. Shake it over rice.
Who's the Plasterer?
What's he think this is? Some kind of pub? Or you can order a martini? Alright, say, oi! Jimmy, Danny, whatever your name is. That's my chair. Well, you didn't notice the camera there? You know, obviously feel comfortable just sitting in some boozer, asking Pedro to get you a martini, and and how you like it, and in my chair. Oh, yeah. Won't do. What's that day? Plus, you only lay it on with a trowel with sand and cement. Rest is done with the edge and devil float if inside. And with sand and cement. Rest is done with the edge and devil float if inside. I suppose so, mate. That's all I do with. You mean compared to skimming? Mind you, I only whack on when I'm skimming. I only whack it on, and then I'm just using my my old speed skim, and possibly a float. Now I've got that. I've got that 5-inch 18 by 18-inch stainless steel trowel, and I've got my flexi, and I've got the pool trowel that I bought. And I've worn them all in on the old sandpaper. But excuse me. But I'm not quite sure which one I want to use first now. Like when I get to work tomorrow, I'm gonna obviously I have them all there, and I kind of think, oh, should I lay this on with the old big trowel? Because that's. And I think, oh, well, why don't you lay on with the pool trowel like I did last time, like in this video, because it does go on quite nice for that pool trowel, but you can't get in the corners. And then there's my trusty Marshalltown, which is a 14-inch, 16-inch, 16-inch, I think. And funny, you can use a trowel for years and not actually know how long it is, unless you get the tape measure out. He didn't, mate. All you saw him suited and booted. It made me feel a little bit underdressed in my own boozer. You know what I mean? But yeah, what's he like? But no, he's a nice fella, really. He's a nice fella, really. Yeah, skimming, mate. Yeah, right, okay. Ooh. For anyone that's just joined us, I'm Eric the Plasterer. This is Ask the Plasterer, and this is the community boozer, where me and a lot of the regular guys and girls, most of these guys and girls are actual spreads, but we've got a lot of DIYs. Watch the channel, a lot of newbies. Doesn't matter who you are, if it's plastering related and you want to ask any kind of questions about anything generally, or even the life of a plasterer, or if you're a potential customer and you want to ask just a customer kind of question of a plasterer, then that's what I'm here for. So, and that's what this community boozer is for, and Ask the Plasterer, ye old Hawk and Trowel. Oh, it's in the name there, Hawk and Trowel. Yeah. Okay, it's not original, but Zoltar, hello mate. Lovely to see you, dear. Lovely to see you. How's things, mate? How's work going? Haven't given up plastering or anything, mate, have you? Because I saw a lot of you, and then I haven't seen you for ages. And I think you popped up a little while ago, and and then I haven't seen you again since. And then here you are. So it's lovely to see you, mate. It's lovely to see you. I think I've got yeah. I think I've caught someone's cough off watching their videos. It's come through the old speaker, come through my phone, and yeah, it's taken me about 5 or 6 weeks to get rid of a cough. It seems to be starting again, which isn't great when you're a plasterer. No, coughing, it's easier to plaster and cough than it is to plaster and blow your nose. Nothing worse than a runny nose when you're a plasterer. Or when I was young and it was trendy to have a fringe like that did this down your face, a bit like that teenager on not Perry, is it Perry? No, the old oh man, my memory's so rubbish. The Harry Enfield geezer, teenager fella. Yeah, and and it wasn't something you could tie up because it would just still like not long enough. It was trendy to have it short everywhere else, just long bit at the front. That was trendy once, and that was trendy. And but when you were mixing up, because you got your head down like this thing constantly, your hair flicking you in your eye, and it drove me absolutely spare. I think I sometimes in the end stuck a beanie hat on. But in the summer, if it's baking hot, you don't want a thick beanie hat on your head, do you? So I think that's probably why I had it cut off in the end. No, I did have a mullet back in the 80s because the mullets is what people had. I had big curly hair down here, only curly because it had been permed and all that kind of stuff. But then that's what geezers did that then. It wasn't a girly thing to get your hair permed. No, if it was long, it'd be long, mullety, a bit straight. Yeah, get a few. Go see the hairdresser, stick a few curlers in it and a bit of the old permy solution, like make it a bit curly. Yeah, look proper trendy. Oh dear. And you look at pictures now and you kind of think, oh my god, how did I walk around in public with my hair looking like that? And then a bit like what all the guys with really long beards and all that kind of look. Now, yeah, I'm talking to you guys out there. It's so trendy to have a beard now for quite a few years. Yeah, quite a few years, because I remember trying to grow one, and that was donkeys ago. For me to grow a beard, it takes about 6 months for it to even look like a beard. That's the reason I don't really have one. So I'm probably just jealous. Excuse me. But yeah, and you look back and go, oh wow, look at that. Look at that. You know, I look like King Edward or something or another. That beard down here, yeah. Lovely. But hey, your time will come. I mean, I used to wear flares as well. I used to get these big flares with, I can't remember what they were called. They'd have a waistband about that fat around your hips. You'd have big square pockets, basically, not where the pockets normally go, basically on the side of each leg. I think I know a few guys up north that still wear those actually. And a lovely pair of platform shoes. You couldn't beat platform shoes back in the day. Oh, see how trendy I was? Platform shoes, mullet, flared trousers. What kind of tops did we wear? Can't remember. Something awful. Oh, I did have tank tops when I was a bit younger. If you know what a tank top is. I think they've come a bit in and out of fashion over the years. Oh dear. Cheers. It's been about 3 weeks since the last early morning podcast, Trowel Talk podcast. I've been on the last two. I'm not sure if I'm on the next one or not. And I've tried to check with Stuart, but he's not got back to me yet. But the next one should be roughly in about a week's time, because they're once a month. And the last one now with Billy Joe Judd was about 3 weeks ago. And I know you guys have been kind of like, oh, I can't wait to get up or be up and ready to listen to the guys and girls doing that 6:30 a.m. podcast on a Friday, kind of at the end of the month or whenever it is. Oh dear. JT, excuse me, where do you lads dump all your rubbish when there's no skip at the job? I hear you get charged at the tip for trade waste these days. Yeah, getting I used my little video that's on my channel is me going to a tip with the people off the news on ITV, because they were asking about fly tipping, and I said it's not helped by the fact I used to be able to bring all my rubbish to this tip, get on a weighbridge, pay whatever the amount was, dump the whole lot, and then I was your uncle, not a problem. And then they started changing all that because it looked better on their recycling record. And now none of the tips really take trade waste anymore. You've got to creep it in a car in a couple of plastic bags, but you're not allowed to put your seat down at the back, because then they classify your car as a van and all that kind of old rubbish. I am very fortunate that I have quite a few big bins, and my dustmen are very, very, very lovely dustmen. Because again, a dustman, you could be on the job, and if you had a lot of rubbish outside, especially if you're doing some big refurby job, or ripping out a bathroom or whatever, for a bit of extra, for a bung, basically, the dustman would just chuck everything in the back of the lorry. It would crush up baths, toilets, all sorts of stuff. Those were the days, and then it was gone, done. But what I tend to do, if I've got a lot of work on and I'm getting a lot of rubbish, because I won't leave it at customer's house, because for my whole domestic career, I've taken the rubbish away, and customers just don't expect you to leave half a ton of bags that possibly they can't even lift up outside their front door or their back door once you've gone. Though there are people that do that after they've done a runner with cash, and before you notice that they've left plaster all over your carpet as well. We won't talk about those flipping cowboys. Florian, hello mate. Sorry, did I finish? I probably didn't finish saying what I was starting to say, because being an old fella, my memory. If I go off on a tangent, I just lose the plot and I can't remember what I was talking about, which ain't so great if you're asking me an important question, but I'll do my best. Sorry, Florian. Hey, I'm from Europe. Oh, where'd it go? Hang on, I've got to check it over here, because it just jumped down my screen over there and I can't see it. Bear with. I'm from Europe. Can you tell me what I can use instead of multi-finish? We don't get British gypsum here. We just got North product, but the finish is rough, way too sandy. I know that'd be an issue, Florian, because I think that the gear that's generally used a lot in Europe is the one coat plaster, where you basically, it's generally always about that sort of a white colour, and it's mixed up quite thick, used to float brickwork. I mean, tell me if that's the stuff you're using. And then as it starts to pick up, you start to trowel the front of it off as the finish, so it's an all-in-one plaster, very popular on the continent for donkey's years. They tried it over here back in the 90s. It didn't catch on very well, not on a large scale, and a lot of places that did stock it, once people started getting the hang of it, stopped stocking it, so they just went back to using the gear we use. But no, that's the only issue. If you're somewhere else, whether it's abroad or the guys in America and other places, it's just a different style of. They've got different types of gear. A lot of them They put it on with a roller. It's more like a paint, like the kind of stuff that you would spray on with spray plastering. It's put on with rollers, and then it's taken off with a leveled out with a spatula, and then troweled up at the end, which is a bit of a yeah. They render the wall with MP75 and then skim the wall. I'll have to look that up. I'm not quite sure what the MP75 is. We're talking about internal work flooring as opposed to outside work, aren't we? If you're putting skim on it as well, must be. Yeah, I don't know if any of the other guys know what the MP15 is or what it's like. And then skim the wall. Or with the skim, so the stuff you're using for skimming, is that like a white plaster? The stuff you use for the skimming, not the MP75 inside. North MP75. Yeah, no, I'll have a look at that flooring and see exactly what's what with it. But yeah, I mean, even here, multi-finish in recent months, a lot of guys have sort of complained that they think the multi-finish that we do use has gone a little bit odd compared to how it normally is. Now, we also have like a board finish, which is made to put directly onto plasterboards. Goes off a bit quicker. Quite nice gear as it goes. But over in Ireland, across from us, they can still get Carlite finish, which mostly, that's right, Mark, isn't it? It mostly seems to have Carlite finish, which is again very similar to look at and kind of to work with as multi-finish. We can't get it in London, or not easily anyway. It's not just generally stocked. You could probably order it specially, and that's, you know, an island's technically kind of 5 minutes away from England, and the plaster's different. So yeah, what else you could possibly get where you are? I don't know. I say you could look into it. I don't know how. Yeah, if you can get it from somewhere else outside of where you are, then it'd probably be too expensive to get hold of it. Whereabouts in Europe are you? P75, not a one case. Oh. Sorry, Mark. Yeah, no, I thought, or in the past anyway. Obviously, I've not been to Europe for a while, and definitely not for work. Well, I can't now, can I? Because of bloody Brexit. But yeah, that it was mostly all one coat stuff, like in places like Spain and Germany as well, I think. But it was literally you floated the walls with it, and then you skimmed it up. Germany, right? Okay. Yeah. No, so yeah, what you could, it's literally what you can get there. As I say, there's some of the stuff that you use over there, we could probably get it here, but again, we'd probably have to go to a particular stockist that stock that particular kind of gear. But I don't know, I don't think there would be any, unless there's any specialist places anywhere in or near you that will use that kind of plaster system. But or out that we're using here for like the multi-finish and whatever. But yeah, it tends to be whichever kind of part of the country or whichever country you're in, they have a different system. And like in the States, they don't plaster anything. It's all drywall. It's all filling in the joints and putting basically a light filler over the whole lot and sanding it all. I never quite understand it because all that joint filling, you got to wait like 12-24 hours before you can go over it or sand it because it stays wet for so long, in which time I could skim a wall. So I've never quite understood. They would argue when they started doing it instead of wet plastering over here, because a lot of building sites and stuff all used to be like wet plastering, and then in 1980 something, I think it was 87, it might have been earlier than that, they stopped doing wet plastering on site. So you went on a building site, everything was taped and jointed. But I did go on quite a few jobs after that where the tape and joint jobs were bumpy, and they'd just go skim everything, and we would skim it. but that didn't make people change their minds. It was still that kind of there's no wet trays here. It takes too long to dry out, was their argument. But yeah, that makes sense. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, mate. A bit of a bummer. Even Amazon won't have it listed in stock. If Amazon haven't got it, mate, probably nobody's got it. Sadly. I'd have, like with anything else with Amazon, if you do order something that's heavy, as our plaster and stuff is, it's going to be costing quite a lot of money just for carriage for it to be shifted about. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to have to go back on the old Coca-Cola. And the old beers are. My Coca-Cola's quite gassy, isn't it? But there you go. Oh, that's a point. Yeah, I don't tend to bother plugging it anymore. On most of my on most of my videos, especially the older ones, there is a link for the Discord channel, Ask the Plasterer, and you can click on that and you'll get sent an invite. It'll say it's from Eric the Plasterer, which is me, and you just click on that and you can join me and a lot of the other guys that just chat on there and put pictures up and ask each other questions. So that can be really handy if you want to join us on there, because let's say this is only once a fortnight, but on there you can chat to any of us any day of the week you like, especially Mike, because Mike works every day of the week. It's Stu, nice to see you, mate. In there, podcast the 14th of this month. Oh, you hear that, guys? 14th of this month for a bright and early 6:30 AM podcast. Yeah, which will be on a Friday. Oh yeah, special guest, of course, Alan Arbuthnot. Man, now there's a spread. He does some absolutely beautiful work. I think he's more out than in. He does a really fancy. He does proper. Alan does proper plastering. Full stop. That's all I can say. He's traditional and he's great. So he will be on that podcast on the 14th. So you don't want to miss it. Don't be lazy and just watch the rerun. 6:30 AM Friday the 14th. Be there. If you're a properly committed plasterer, you'll be there. Florian, I have the gear. Just need. Just need the material. I've got a Tyzac trowel, 13-inch, and an Ox Pro, an 11-inch. 11-inch. That's really short, Florian, isn't it? I mean, we tend to have the 14 kind of up. I think you can get 13s, obviously, but like 14, 16, 18 length trials. Which is to say, for any kind of skimming, it's best to keep them down to about 4 inches. Actually, with skimming, they can be wider. Say my one's like, I've got one that's 18 by 5, but I wouldn't put any backing plaster on with it because it'd be too heavy. But for skimming, that's fine. But yeah, 13 seems like really small to be laying on. Excuse me. Danny, can't wait for that one, mate. Alan, great guy, very interesting too. He is, mate. Wish I did my time with someone like him. Hang on. Yeah, I'm going to just turn my mic off while I have a good old cough. Hey, back in the room. Yeah, no. If you can train with someone that's like just knows the score, proper old school, and learn from them, absolutely fantastic. But when you're trying to get somewhere in this trade, you know, being able to find that kind of person, or for them to be somewhere near where you are, and happy to take you on or to help you out with your work, can be a bit difficult. But it happens. Sometimes you can get fantastic mentors. But yeah, Alan, he's a pucker. knows what he's talking about kind of guy. As also, he's Pete. Pete, where are you, Pete? I haven't seen Pete for us. Pete with a hat on over there, look. Pete is also, for anyone that doesn't know, he's an inventor, and he invents some amazing stuff, most of the time plastering related stuff to make the plasterer's life easier. One of his most famous ones is the socket covers, bead fix? Something like that. You go on to sockets before you plaster them, and then when it's all done you just pop the middle out and love the edge around your socket. I mean, COVID jabs, Eric? No, it could be, mate. Yeah, I had the two, and then I had the third booster thing back when they were doing it. Yeah, that first time around, and then when the second time around, no one kind of bothered, did they? Including me. So, and you kind of think, yeah, well, you know, people seem to be okay with it. You know, COVID now, it's not, you know, not great to have, but you tend to be able to get over it fairly quickly. So let's hope it stays that way. Let's hope it stays that way. But there's still loads of it about, apparently. But it's just kind of like, yeah, not spoken of. And it's let's be honest, it's nice to forget that it ever happened. Even now, because at the time with the old lockdowns and stuff, I was thinking, oh, these lockdowns are like, oh, I'm never going to forget these. But I think after it's all kind of seems to be over, your brain goes, yeah, you are going to forget that, because yeah, that was no fun at all. That's out of the way, and just crack on with life. Today kind of onwards matters. Well, today matters. You don't know how much onwards you got, do you? You can't see in the top of that old hourglass of sand. You can see the bottom where the sand's running through and it's building up, but you can't see how much is left in the top. So make the most of every day, guys and girls, he said. Yeah, this isn't the motivation channel, it's Ask the Plasterer in the community boozer at Years of Plastering I've. Eric the Plasterer, been plastering in South London for the last 38 years, and here to answer the plastering questions from anybody that wants to ask them. Doesn't matter if you're DIYer, a newbie, a time served spread, and if I don't know the answers, one of the other guys or girls will know the answer. Richard, I've always used 13 by 5, but lost all its shape. I went for the 14 by 5 and have to say really like lays on a tad more flat. Yeah, because the more, okay, as long as it's not a flexible trowel, the more of a length you've got on the trowel, it's gonna lay it on flatter than a more dumpy thing. I found years ago, I had quite a big trowel anyway, and a guy I was working next to on a site, he was a fair bit younger than me, and kept telling me I was doing things wrong, which was a bit annoying. Well, not telling me, telling my boss, or our boss. Eric's not doing it right. He's finished it really quick, but he's not doing it properly. But obviously the boss, he didn't care, because what I finished was absolutely great and didn't look any different to his. But he had a very dumpy trowel, and it just, well, no, I put a few strokes on, and I think I've covered quite a large area laying on, and it'd be laying it on, and there's, you know, half a dozen times or more, and there's little, obviously the little tram lines either side of the trowel because it was so dull. But yeah, you can get used to using a really small trowel, but as you just, yeah, if you can lay more on and it doesn't give you any jip with your wrists or anything else, then I would, for skimming anyway, I would use kind of like the most sensible. Well, I wouldn't go bigger than 18 on the length of it by 5, which is the one I've got. That's a stainless, but the carbon trowels are a bit like vinyl. Really coming back into fashion. I think Tyzac is really nice, way stiffer than the Ox. Yeah, no, you're right, Florian. The old Tyzac is because Tyzacs have been around a long time as well. But then the very British Tyzac, I think, like Spear and Jackson. Can't remember if Spear and Jackson became Tyzac or Tyzac became Spear and Jackson, or there was a connection there somewhere with those. Pretty sure English branded as opposed to Marshalltown, which of course is American. But so I've used Tyzac and Marshalltown, mostly Marshalltown for most of my career. Because the trowels I've had them for years until they've popped a rivet or I've dropped them beyond repair. or just worn them out over donkey's years. So yeah, I mean now there's so many options out there. You think, oh, I'll try one of them. Oh, I'll try a plastic trowel. That leaves a nice kind of more of a matte finish than a than a steel one. And then stainless steel. And I thought stainless steel was harder to wear in than a carbon. From the viewpoint that because carbon trowels do rust, or my ones did anyway. That by the time you scraped and sanded the rust off, they were that little bit thinner and that little bit sharper. With stainless steel, you know, yeah, didn't rust, so it was kind of like thinking, oh, this must be a bit harder. But Kirk reckons the opposite. So he's probably right because I've no idea. Yeah, I mean, shorter trowels are better for I think for render, just because it's just less weight to pick up of each blob you shove on. Danny, yeah, best floating trowels for floating. Tyzac was originally British. Yeah, it was British brand, mate, wasn't it? I thought so. As I say, I can't remember if it's Tyzac and Spear and Jackson or the other way around, but they were, yeah, one and the same company, or one bought the other at some point. They don't plug Tyzac. They don't kind of plug their trowels as much as. I'm saying that. No, I can't say I've seen millions of adverts for Marshall towels. I think they're just bought on their reputation of being around for so long, and Ox obviously do a lot of advertising to push their trowels and the speed skims and stuff. You know, I think because I started using the speed skim before I'd ever used any other kind of spatula really. You know, I'd used a Derby and a feather edge, but I'd never used any kind of spatula prior to that. Because that's the first ones I'd ever bought, and I'd only been using those now for about 4 years, something like that. But they were, I think they're great, you know, and I probably think, oh, I prefer these, but then I wouldn't know because I haven't tried the other spats, and there's lots of different types out there, thicker, thinner, sort of more rigid, more flexy. But as I say, with any flexible blades, you really do need to, be careful of how you, when you may use those. And I've got to admit, more recently, I'm not using my flexi to polish at the end of something. They're great for getting a nice blend if you do have to patch something up, which I hate patching anything. When I go to see any customer's job and they go, oh, this bit's falling out, can you patch it? And I just think, oh, can't we just, you know, if it's not silly, can't we just skim the wall? From internal to internal. And yeah, lovely new wall you've got. And the plasterers, you know, if you do a teeny bit and you really put a lot of accelerator in it, you're still going to be there a while. So I'd rather than mess about with a patch for all that time, I'd rather skim the whole wall across for the sake of one bag of plaster. Even though it's as expensive as it's getting nowadays. Oh dear. I know Spear and Jackson is bought by an Asian brand. Oh, probably now, mate. Yeah, probably now. They don't seem to advertise their stuff much, or it doesn't come up much on our media or social media. Social media wise, I think just Ox Trowel seem to come up a lot, or as a brand. But it depends what kind of money they put behind pushing their wares. How are we doing for time? Oh, it's 8 minutes past 8. Time's gone past quite quickly this evening. I'll try and make sure I haven't forgotten to tell you anything. Talked about my person that Daniel, yeah, gate crash in the not gate crash in the pub, but sitting in my chair, and about the bright and early 14th of 14th of what month are we in? April. The 14th of April. Oh, just for anyone that did see my comment on April the 1st that said unless you buy me a pint, you'll no longer be able to watch my videos. It was obviously an April Fool's, wasn't it? I'm watching them anyway. No, I jest. I've had quite a few new subscribers since I posted a couple more videos, so I just need to do a few more. I have noticed that I'm thinking I'm probably going to do myself that Stu Roberts has now also got a channel which is more geared towards advertising, which would be great for any of us guys that are out there hoping to get that more work in and get more of a reputation, or if you're starting out, to do a channel that is basically not just one boring kind of advert, oh I'm a plasterer, this is my number, why don't you call me, I'll come and do your plastering, but to do some videos geared towards the customer's perspective as opposed to tutorial perspectives for people that want to learn maybe how to do particular plastering jobs, and put some of those out there and get some traction on a channel that is geared more towards, look, I'm a plasterer, this is what I do, here's a few videos of mine, this is who I am, where I am, and because let's face it, we're all over the country, and often someone might watch one video and go, oh that guy's great, or people go to me, oh are you anywhere near, and they're absolutely miles away if they're in this country even, and I'm kind of like, oh no, miles away, I'd love to do that job for you, but yeah, it's not. So yeah, putting out videos that are a bit more like localized, really, and then get some kind of link into Facebook and all the usual social media stuff. But just basically plugging yourself as a spread or a business, as opposed to the tutorial ones. Danny, I thought Ox was an Australian brand. Maybe wrong. Bring back real Sheffield steel. Yeah, steel industry's not great for us, mate, is it? Yeah, no idea, Danny, if they were Australian or not. Like originally or eventually. What does it matter to us? We're plasterers. We just use the tools, the right tools for the job. Once again, as I say, we're underrated as trades goes, because, you know, take a bag of powder, make it into a beautiful piece of artwork on a wall, on a ceiling. Here's a bag of powder. Can you give me a nice, lovely, smooth ceiling? Yeah. Yeah. Like to see the Sparky do it, or the Chippy. You know, Sparkies are good at their thing. The good ones. Chippies, good chippies are good at their chippying. But hey, plastering, it's in a different league. We should be paying twice as much as we're paid, charging twice as much as we're charging. But yeah, we need to work together to make sure that we're back up here where plasterers belong. Mark, Ox is Australian, Danny. Yeah, there you go, Danny. There ain't a lot that Mark don't know. Ox is Australian. He's probably, I'm saying that, he's probably just looked it up on his phone. He's Ox Australian brand. Sorry, Mark. No, you're smart. You probably know it without checking it on your phone. How can you watch this and do stuff on your phone? Unless you turn me off for a minute, of course. Good evening. If you just joined us, this is Ask the Plasterer. This is the Olde and Trowel community boozer, where I've been a plasterer for 38 years in South London, and here to answer your plaster-related questions. And if I don't know the answer, one of the guys or girls that are regulars here will know that answer. And we are coming to you live every other Monday from 7 o'clock to about 8:30. We're also connected with Trowel Talk, Plasterers Help Group. Which is says what it means. It's a plasterers help group. If you need any help regarding plastering, doesn't matter what stage you're at in plastering or whether you are a DIYer, Trowel Talk is the Facebook group you need to join if you want to get proper answers to proper questions, to any questions that are plastering related. Yeah, this goes after the live stream. This goes out as a podcast in a couple of days' time, and what else does it do? Yeah, but other than that, you can send me comments via my videos on my channel, plasterer.org.uk, which is where you are now, unless you're possibly watching through Facebook. And yeah, or on my Discord forum, Ask the Plasterer. In most of my videos, especially the older ones, there are links to that say Discord Ask the Plasterer. Click on that and it will send you an invite, and you just follow the instructions on there. It takes a minute and boom, you can chat to me and a lot of the other guys and girls any day of the week you like. You can put pictures up, you can ask questions, you can say, look at the state of this job I've just walked into this morning. Speaking of which, the job I'm doing tomorrow, I say it's customers I've worked for before. They're a lovely couple. A builder was meant to be coming in, taking a wall out on Saturday, putting in a concrete beam. Don't know why it's a concrete beam. To open up their kitchen, so I can go in there and get cracking with it today. Funny enough, should have been. I was expecting some. I've given them a quote, but I was expecting some pictures so I could see how much gear I needed on the on Saturday. I didn't chase them up Saturday, but I didn't get the pictures. But sadly, they left it until Sunday morning to inform me that the builder didn't come Saturday. It's next week, but unfortunately, yeah, it's not great for me to be able to do it. But that week, after that week, but hey ho, you know, what can you do? What can you do? What's that? Googled it. Hang on, let me have a look down this list of chat. Right, Oxford's Australian, Danny. Yeah, that's because they know they can't do what we do. Mark googled it, watching you on the tablet. Yeah, I thought, oh, what Mark seems there's not a lot he don't know. But I suppose if you've got Google to hand, there ain't a lot any of us don't know, is there? But yeah. Oh, that's good. Well, it's an easier viewing experience, this, mate, if you're watching it on a tablet. Plus, Mark, it's one day, mate, because people won't be they'll be able to understand your accent, mate. One day you got to ring this number, which is, for anybody else, which is a line into the pub, so you can actually ring and talk to me if you're not using your phone to watch it. Now, Mark, you're watching it on tablet, mate. You know, if you can Google something on your phone, you can ring me. Yeah. I haven't got a translator here, but that's not the point. I'm sure I'm absolutely fine, brother. Absolutely fine. I googled it. I thought so. So did you, Danny. Now, what's that, Danny? What it was when I did my city-in guilds, they were just starting to be a big thing. I think the Ox Band and had a choice of that or Marshalltown, so I went Marshalltown as the Aussies too far behind us. Oh dear. Right. I was, yeah, when I started plastering or the training side of it. Well, I don't know if you are now. I don't think it's the same. I was given you're given the basic tools like trowel, fork, other bits and pieces, scratcher. We had to make our own plungers for knocking the lumps out of a bucket of finish because, yeah, whisk wasn't a thing back then. Back in the olden days. Back in the early 80s. Oh dear. Not many subtitles. Well, yeah, we could sort out subtitles, mate. Cause you can't now with all this AI stuff, the artificial intelligence. You ring in, people have an issue. When it comes to the replay, bit of that artificial intelligence, mate, it will just translate it. Well, and put it up on the screen in English people can understand. I'm looking forward to chatting in Edinburgh, Mark. Absolutely. Yeah, if anyone doesn't know, we've got an Edinburgh meetup, which is now in 35 days, I said, wasn't it? 37 days. 37 days when a load of us are meeting up in Edinburgh. A lot of us just to meet each other for the first time in the flesh, and yeah, and it'll be similar to this scenario we have here. And absolutely can't wait. It's only going to be for a few days. Some people are staying longer, but the idea was to meet up for a couple of days. Edinburgh is a beautiful city. Trust me, the weather's going to be great. And yeah, we're going to have a good time. Yeah, anyone can come along to that. Everyone's more or less made their own. We have got a group via Trowel talk where we can all chat to each other, see who's going, if anyone's going near somebody else and wants a lift and all that kind of stuff, and pay towards petrol. The people are flying there, people are getting the train there. I was hoping to get the train there, but it looks like flying's going to be cheaper and I suppose quicker if there's no delays at the airport. So yeah, so that's all good stuff. Looking forward to that. Richard, what's that? Hang on. A client texted me from a job the other day and said a painter decorator quoted her and said I was a decent plasterer. Nice to get a compliment from a painter. That is great, mate. And how do I know that? Because I've had compliments via the customer from their decorator. They've gone, ooh, excuse me. Oh dear. Oh, first he has a cough and then he starts sneezing. Great. Summer cold. Summer's coming in it, so it must be summer cold on the way. Yeah, and when they do say that, you kind of think, oh, well, great. You know, if they kind of complimented the plastering that they had to paint and ask for your number, then yeah, it's good. So no, it is nice. It is nice. It's like, well, some customers are very kind of like, wow, you transformed that room, you transformed my house, my extension from a brick garage looking thing into a proper room. And other customers are like, oh yeah, great. You think, oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, 20 past 8. We've got about another 10 minutes to have a little jibber jab and a little bit of a chat. For those that didn't see Daniel pop in earlier, I'm gonna replay his CCTV that we got of him sitting at my table at my desk here, ready for the live stream. He pops in for a pint. Bish.
Dry martini.
Oui, monsieur.
Wait. 3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of quinoa lily. Shake it over rice.
Pass the plasterer.
Yeah. What a guy. Thank you, Daniel, for popping in to make my videos more popular. Yeah, hang on a second, guys. I tell you what, it's so hard not to. I do it, Stuart does it, so many of the guys making videos. I don't think Kirk. Oh no, I think Kirk does it as well. And Kirk Giordano, he does it as well. You just can't help. It's so difficult a habit to get out of saying, "Okay, guys, this is blah blah blah," or right, guys. And or hey guys, I do it. So many of us do it. I tried not doing it, but it's nigh on impossible. Old habits die hard. Old habits die hard. But as I was saying, this will go out as a video as soon as the live stream's finished, and it'll be out in a podcast in a couple of days. Where you can get wherever you get your podcasts, you can just listen to this. On Spotify, it also comes out with a video as well as the audio. But on all the other platforms, you can pick it up as a podcast and listen to it at work. What could be better? Learn something. Just think, oh yeah, something to pass the time. Yeah, you can get fed up with listening to Fix Radio. Sorry, Fix. You can get fed up with listening to the radio in general. You know, think, you know what? I'm gonna pop on an Ask the Plasterer at the Community Boozer at the Olde and Trowel for nice, not for a pint because you'd be working. But hey, you know what I mean. Danny, I've got to say, fell out of love with plastering big time before that renovation job. But now I know it's what I was born for. Oh, mate, fighting talk, yeah. Get in there. Can do other things, but none as natural as plastering. Up the spreads, yay! It's true, mate, it's true. I mean, it's nice to be able to do other things, bit of carpentry, bit of bricklaying, bit of decorating. Or even large amounts of it. But yeah, no. If you find you've got an affinity that you were born to plaster, mate, then you can't be letting those clients down out there that are relying on you, Danny, relying on me, relying on the spreads of the nation, spreads across the UK. That's us, by the way, just in case you didn't know. Even if you're fairly new to the game. But wherever you are in your spreading life, career, job, come and have a chat with us here at the Community Boozer every other Monday from 7 o'clock. And you're just welcome to come along, ask questions. I haven't really plugged it tonight, but there is a phone line in to the pub where you can ring in and you can chat and ask a question direct. Jump any kind of typey queue there. And yeah, have a good old waffle with me and give everybody else a chance to not just have to listen to me for the duration of the show. Yeah, so haha. Right, make sure I've had nothing else I forgot to tell anybody. I think we've covered everything. Again, don't forget the podcast, Plasterer's podcasts on Trowel Talk. That'll be on Trowel Talk, the YouTube channel, and Trowel Talk Plastering Helps Facebook group. If you're not a member of that, you're missing out big time. If you want to learn or ask any questions, Trowel Talk is the Facebook group you need to go on. Kirk, I don't think he's done it yet, but he's if he hasn't, he's drawing out of the bag from his draw for winning him for a whole day. No matter where you are in the country, he will come to you if you win the draw, and he'll come plastering for you, with you. You can go to him if you want, but it's more likely you'd rather he goes to you. Yeah, or he'll be your labourer for the day. He said he can film it or not film it, whatever you want to do. If you just say, look, my front room needs plastering, how much of that can you do in a day? Get in there and crack on, Kirk. He will do that as well. So that's what you're. If you can still enter that draw, I think it's a tenner to possibly win Kirk for the day. The draw for that is coming up very soon. I just can't remember exactly when. I don't think it's been on yet because I'm pretty sure I would have got a notification. Which means that a lot of the guys and girls all watched Kirk. That's most of his subscribers are us lot. Dear. Right, that I've forgotten that. Yep, going to Edinburgh soon. Summer's coming. The days are getting longer. I was surprised over the years back how when the summer started kicking in big time that anybody would go indoors and watch Ask the Plasterer and come and chat on there. But they do, for which I'm eternally grateful, obviously. Right, boys and girls. It's been wonderful. Love you lots. Thanks for coming along. And I will speak to you either on the forum, on the Plastering podcast, or somewhere soon, or back on here in a fortnight's time. In the meantime, yeah, have a lovely Easter, because that's coming up next weekend, isn't it? And yeah, hopefully the weather's meant to be good, so that'd be great. And yeah, can't wait. And of course it will be a fortnight closer to our trip to Edinburgh, our Edinburgh meetup, sponsored by Ask the Plasterer and Trowel Talk Facebook group. Alright, cheers Mark, cheers Mike, cheers Danny, Richard's brother. Dear Florian, if you're still there, thanks for coming along, mate. Nice to see you. And you, Mike. And Stu. Yeah, looking forward to the Alan Arbuthnot. See you later.